have a simple data set. You have a user ID, you have a grade, and the test scores. And the idea is how do you bucket it, and then we'll play with the question more a bit after Hari takes an attempt on the first part.
Hey everyone, and thank you, Jitesh. I'm Hari. I did my master's in data science from Columbia University, and right now I'm working as a data scientist in a gaming company called Take-Two. And I'm working mostly with time series forecasting, sales analytics, but also another corporate analytics teams and projects as well. Apart from my work, I also try to create content on YouTube, LinkedIn, and trying out different other things as well. If you want to become a data scientist, I'm providing some advice, I would say, but not being trying to making it non-cliche.
So, hey folks, this is Jitesh. I write under the pen name Canadian Data Guy. About 13 years of experience in data engineering, data architecture, all that stuff. And yeah, I'm also a coach for interview query.
So the question is, let's say this is just a background, I guess. Let's say you're given a data frame of standardized test scores from high schoolers from grades 9 to 12 called DF grades. So we have a data frame called DF grades and all these things. I think just a background for this question. So this is the data set. Given the data set, write code function in pandas called bucket test scores to return the cumulative percentage of students that receive scores within the buckets of 50, 75, 90, 100. Yeah, maybe in simple terms, like they're asking for a percentage of people who come under that particular bucket. Let's say you want to give like S, A, B, C grades for these people. How many percentage of the people have are under that particular bucket? That's what they're asking. And but they are asking in a cumulative way. They're asking for a cumulative percentage here. So we have user ID column. So this is so student number 1, student number 2, student number 3, and they got like 10, 10, 11, 10 grades. The test score is 85, 60, 90, 30, 99. Hey Jitesh, what exactly is the the grade column here?
Think of them as the class they're studying in.
Okay, so they want this irrespective of what grade they study in.
You would want it on a per grade basis. So, a grade 10, you
Okay,
will have,
okay.
yeah,
So we have to
bucketing it.
group by and do this again. Like,
Correct,
okay, we
correct.
need like kind of like a loop, but yeah, we can do that using group by. Got it. And this is the desired results. So can I assume that the data is clean and I can proceed with it?
So, let's go with the fact, right? Data is always incorrect or at least incomplete, right? What first line of thought is how would you actually check that if this data is complete?
The first thing is it might have some null values inside. Let's
Uh-huh.
say there is user ID 6, class 11 or grade 11, and he has a null value. No one can have null values, but yeah, obviously that might be an exception of he might be absent in the test or something. That might be an edge case over here. But yeah, for those kind of instances, we might have to make sure, are we gonna give him 0 in this score, or are we just gonna exclude him in this course
Yeah,
in
can
this
we
score and
exclude
make this
them
confusing?
from the analysis?
Okay, so I'm gonna consider that there's no null value and everyone's data is present in this particular table.
No,
uh,
I would say assume that they are null values, but remove them from your, do not include those in your calculation.
okay, yeah, then that would be the first step, right? So here we are creating like importing the pandas and defining function, which is already there here in the interview query platform. So and the data frame df is coming in. So I'm gonna just ignore the null values that's gonna come in. So I'm gonna say, and again I'm making an assumption that just test score is gonna be null, or I can consider like any column could be null. But I
No,
think
you can just, yeah.
yeah, we can just say like test score to be that might be null values inside this, and I'm gonna exclude them from this. So df test score. Okay, actually I have to do this. So I'm saying only start with the not null values. So the
Mhm.
df is just gonna be whatever is not null from test score, and we are starting the data from there. So we have the data frame df. So the first step is we have to
One more,
define
one
these.
more. So one,
Yep,
if
yep.
you read the question again, there is one
Mm-hmm,
more level of check which you should do.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, see from the question, can you apply one more check based on the question?
Given the data set, write code function in pandas called okay to return the cumulative in this code within the buckets of. You mean the test score should be between 0 to 100.
That's a good one. So
Okay.
I think you should also enforce that the question says it's for high schoolers grade 9 to 12. I think you should
Okay.
also use
Okay.
that as a way to
Okay.
control the outcome. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I just assume that it's gonna be 9 to 12. Okay, but we are just gonna do this analysis for 9 to 12, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we are gonna do grade uh greater than 9 and df greater than or equal to 9, less than or equal to. So I'm only filtering the data which is the grade greater than or equal to 9 and the df less than or equal to 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And also we can also filter any values of test score less than 0. Hopefully they don't get negative test scores here, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, we can exclude the test scores starting from 0 to 100.
Yeah, makes sense. And this is how you differentiate, right? So basically, if a normal person who has not thought this through, like people would look at a small data set and start coding and assume the
Mm-hmm.
data set is clean, which is not true ever in real life. So that's how
Yep.
you take the input from the question and apply it before even you have started attempting the starting attempted
Mm-hmm.
the code, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you show, hey, you are paying attention to what's given to you.
And just to debug whether I did it right, I'm just gonna run the code and see what I'm getting out. I should get everything because the data is already clean here.
Yeah,
Yeah, 1 2 3 4 5, yeah, and I get everything out. So we
awesome.
have this data frame ready. And also I think I might want to add one more thing. So if here we are technically filtering everything out,
Hmm.
assuming that this is what we want, but if you want to like just notify the user that some new thing came inside, let's say you want to check something like that, I think there is something called assert function in Python, I guess. So you can
Yep,
use assert and do this will help you to track if some anomaly is coming inside the data, and you
got
can
it.
do assert and print that statement over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's start with the actual coding then. So here they asked for cumulative percentage of students that receive scores within the buckets of whatever. So they asked for a bucket less than 50, less than 75, less than 90, less than 100. I think that's what we got. Less than 50, 75, 90, and 100 for both grade 10 and grade 11. So let's create a bucket for that. Let me call it bins, and I'm gonna say 50, 75, 90, and 100. So since it's a bin, I'll also start with 0, and we'll use the pandas method like to do the right limit when we do that. But yeah, I'll also include 0 here.
Hmm.
Uh, we can technically have this as a bin and we can move forward. So I'm gonna use pandas cut method to perform this binding operation. And cut method takes in labels as well inside the case. So you don't have to label it directly like using the bin. You can provide like manual labels on top of it. So you can give labels to be these things. I'm copying it and pasting it here. So this is going to be the final label that we want in the output. So I've created the bin, I've created the labels, and let's use pandas method. So pandas dot cut. This will help us to create this bucket operation. So I'm gonna cut based on the test score that we have. So which is the column df test score, and I want to cut it based on bins, and I also have labels defined. So I think we can also give, because now we are gonna keep the right limit here. So the first one is consider as so 0 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 90, 90 to 100. We are gonna create all these bins, but the problem
Mhm.
is 50 is gonna be there in the first index and all, as well as the second index. So instead of
I
doing that,
didn't
you can do like a
understand
less
that.
than. Okay, so maybe I'll print this and I'll
Oh, are you trying to say there are five bins and there are four
yep.
labels? Okay.
Yep. No, I'm trying to say that each bucket will be like between two values, like 0 to
Mm-hmm.
50, 50 to 75, 75 to 90, and 90 to 100. So that
Mm-hmm.
way, technically, you're having like this as a one bin, second bin, third bin, and fourth bin. So we are calculating something in between. That's how we have four, four buckets, but five values in those bins. But we also have to define, by default, pandas cut method has right equal to true, uh, which means we are not including the right value inside that particular bucket. So if it's 0 to 50, we are not including the 50. It should be 0 to less than 50, which means 49 over here, this case. I think this is the
Okay.
default value. We can keep it in the, we don't have to mention it explicitly. And we have this df. Now I'm gonna like write this in the, overwrite this in the df test score. Maybe we can take a look at it, how it looks. We can see that uh, if you take so this is the input. So grade 10 test score 85. So 85 comes under 90 in this case, and that's what we got. And grade
Mm-hmm.
10, the 60 should come under 75, and that's what we got. So we are in the right track of doing this. uh,
Given what you mentioned before,
mm-hmm,
then do you think there is a problem in the question? Because if someone scores 100,
mm-hmm.
then they don't belong to anyone.
Yep, that's true.
Can we account for that and correct it?
Yeah, we can correct it by using giving or not one here. That should account. I can give less than or not one here, and this should tackle that problem. But they didn't ask that in the question, so maybe we can go with 100 for now.
So always good to call out. Questions could be purposefully, can
Mm-hmm.
be written in a way when they purposefully expect the interviewer to think through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. And so that's the first step. And the second thing is, now since we have this, and we have to convert this particular data frame that we have, which has user ID, grade, test score, into a data frame which is like this. So
Hmm.
we technically need a grade column as it
Hmm.
is, but also we also need a test score column with like a categorical variable inside, like minus, like less than 50, less than 75, less than 90, and less than 100. And we want to calculate the percentage of people underneath it. So we can do that by counting the sum of people inside it and taking a percentage of the total. So the first step, let's start with identifying, when I mean sum, I mean count of the people and taking the percentage of people by dividing it by the total. So we'll start with taking df and group by. So we have to group by the grade as well as the test score. We're gonna group by grade and test score, and we're gonna understand we're gonna get the count of the users in that particular range. So we're
Hmm.
gonna do this group by, and we're gonna group by grade as well as test score, and we are gonna do a aggregated version of, we're gonna aggregate user ID. Aggregate, we're gonna take the count of the user ID. So we can take this, let's see how it looks. So I like to debug every line of code that I write. So I'm gonna do that here. I'm gonna write this run code and see what this df actually has. Okay. So the one more thing with group by is gonna introduce index columns over there. So if you don't want index, you can give as index equal to false. So this should help you to see even the index columns inside. So okay, what's the problem? Length of values 5 does not match the length of index. Have more index than this. Any idea what this error is?
One thing I wanted to point out, the this test scores column right now, does it contain the actual test score or the label of the test score?
The label. It has the label.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Regarding,
we rewrote it over here.
okay.
Yeah, ideally it should. I don't know why this should just give the index values as well. If I run this, I'm getting this. Yeah, so I'm getting the count of people inside that particular bin. So this is, I think, one should be for a grade and one should be based on grade and this. I'm not sure why I'm not getting that index. Maybe I'll do reset it. So reset index. Let's see if this works. Yeah, this worked. Generally, I do as index equal to false. I don't know why it didn't work.
So right now you
So
have a
here,
grade, you have a test score, and then you
yeah,
have
and user ID is not actually user ID. User ID is the count of
count
the
of.
user ID is shown here. So we have one person below this score in this grade, and it follows
Can you
like that.
rename that column?
So I think anyway we are gonna ignore this column maybe, but yeah, for now I'll go here df dot what is this user ID. Oh, actually df dot rename. I'm gonna rename it from user ID to maybe I'll just keep it count to keep it simple.
Mhm.
And, and I have to do access equal to 1 so it knows I'm renaming the column. And I can do in place equal to true. Sorry, in place equal to true. This will rewrite the existing data frame that we have. So now we have the grade, we have the test score, we have the count now, but they didn't ask for the count. They asked for the cumulative percentage of people underneath it. So we might have to do that now. So we have to first thing I think we have to get the sum inside first, sum, and then take the percentage of people after that, right? So we'll do that. So we're gonna group by. We're gonna do that for every grade we have. So whenever I think a lot of people are confused in using group by. So when do you want to use group by is like whenever you want to do whenever the statement that you're trying to do has for every so and so, it is basically like you're trying to do a group by. So I'm gonna group by grade because I want to do this for every grade. I don't want to mix up the grades in between. So for every grade, which is right now we have 10 and 11, for every grade, I'm gonna apply a lambda function. Lambda function is nothing but I can like click apply and create a short one line function, which is same as creating a def and doing this, but it's just gonna be in one line. So I'm gonna do lambda, and I'm gonna do take each number and divide it by the total. So I'm gonna consider x as that number, and I'm gonna divide it by the sum. I'm gonna divide it by the sum of that. So this is what I'm trying to do, and now I have to define, and I have to show assign it to every x. So x is nothing but we're just running in a loop for x, and if you write that, this is how it looks. So I'm not sure whether I wrote it in the right way. Maybe we can check the output how it looks. ef dot grade apply. Okay. X divided by x dot sum. Object with the d type category cannot perform numpy. Okay. Something is considered as category. Maybe I should do int or float here. Oh, any idea what's this?
I think the previous one is still running, that's it.
Okay, okay. Okay, so one is categorical and one is float.
So I think the first value which you have is, are we
Yeah.
passing the test score? What's the first value? X.
So we
Passing
are
the
passing the
grade.
test score. No, we are
No.
grouping by grade and passing the rest of the values, right? We are passing the test score. We are passing the count, I guess. Yeah, we are passing the count here.
Okay, maybe you want to check that.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to check if X is truly your count.
Yep. Or maybe I can do this. I can
Is there a way you can name
do.
the column directly?
I don't think so. It applies for every column, I guess.
It's X is definitely it's not it's not what you're expecting it to be, at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe just print out what X is. That way you'll have.
Let me see what DF is. DF is this, right? It has, so we are grouping by grade, and we have both test score and count here. Okay. So now,
Can you do a apply X colon X and check what that X is?
yeah, I don't really know how to print the X here.
Whatever is the output here,
Yeah,
just do like a
that's the
dummy.
get.
Yeah, yeah. Print this TF out.
Yeah, I'm getting the same again. Yeah, that should be right. So
So when this code runs where you say apply lambda X, X is probably the row, right?
yeah, we are
Okay.
looping through the row, and yeah, and
So
that particular row has both the columns inside.
correct, correct.
Yeah, I see what went wrong. So we don't have to reset the index here. So we are introducing the index value to come inside, and that's what is making this. Let's do this. Let's put this on hold for now. So now let me print X. Okay. So I just have the user ID column. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of user ID, now it will be count. So I just have the count column, and then rest other columns will be in the index. And I'm gonna do the same thing. X divided by X dot sum. Let me put it in brackets. I don't confuse myself. And okay. So I'm taking the discrete percentages here by doing like X divided by the total sum within that particular grade.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, now, yeah, I think we're on the right track, but I don't want, it's not in the percentage, but so I have to multiply it by 100. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, so 33 percentage, 0.00050. Are we doing it right? Maybe, yeah, I'll check that as well. So let's go to the previous step, print the previous step. So here there are four people. So this one is count, right? There is one person below this, one person below this number, one person below this number. Okay, I got it. So each number is now, this is minus less than 50, less than 75, less than 90, less than 100, but it's just discrete right now. So this code is introducing the percentage for the same. Yep. Just have to take the cumulative sum and it will be done. So the next step is, so TF is right. So if I take group by for every grade, I have to do cumulative, and I'm gonna do that. So we got that right. So the previous step, this introduces just the discrete value, and in this step I'm taking, based on for every grade, I'm taking the cumulative sum of those percentages.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts with 33, and I mean, obviously we have to change this, but yeah, it's 33.33 percentage, and then you're adding it together to this, and ideally it should come to 100 percentage in the end, because everyone's test score is less than 100, and but not everyone's test score is less than 50, and that's what we want, and that's why I took cumulative percentage here. We ordered it and we took the cumulative percentage, and let's introduce other columns here. I removed the reset index here because we don't need the index values, but we need the index values right now. So reset index, so this should bring the rest of the columns inside. So we have the grade, test score, count. We have the grade, test score. Okay, now we have to rename this from count to percentage, because it is actually the percentage inside. I could have done that before. I can do that here right now. And we might also have to do two things. So this column is in float format. I have to change it from float to string, because it is a string over here. We can take a round, or yeah, you can convert it to int and then string, and we might also have to append this particular thing in the end.
I think we can skip
So,
all that. It's fine. I don't care about
mm-hmm.
it. Let's go
Okay,
back to your code because you're almost getting the same output. Um,
okay.
I don't like the hard coding of bins and label at line 8 and 9. and the
Mm-hmm.
relationship which 8 and 9 hold to each other. Can we
Mm-hmm.
do something about that?
Okay. So,
Can you
so
create
you
labels
want
from bins? Yeah, and can the bins be dynamic?
okay. I mean, creating labels from bins can be done. Maybe that can be the next step. Dynamic, you mean like you can insert one more parameter inside, uh, like the number of bins or something.
Yes.
Okay, so you can call it number of bins. But in this case, we are assuming that it'll be easily like evenly distributed, right?
Correct. That's fine.
This is not evenly distributed.
Correct. That's fine. Don't worry
Okay,
about it.
I'll just print this and that's right. Yeah, I can go from scratch again. Okay. So yeah, so NumPy has this particular method to do that. So NumPy has this called linear space, lin space. You have to import NumPy as np np.lin space, and here you have to provide the bin range. You have to give the
Mm-hmm.
minimum value as well as the maximum value. In our case, it's 0 to 100 because you have the test score between 0 to 100, and you give those values, and you want the bin size as well, number of bins that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, the number of bins that you want is 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, technically, yeah, the range, like this is 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you can give num size bin numbers or something.
Can you yeah, just pass it as a parameter too?
Oh yeah. So bin num. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I can take that from the input, but I can't run this, I guess.
You can just
This
scroll
int.
down and change the function call. Yeah, you can't.
We
Sorry,
can
my
change
bad.
that. Okay.
No, you
Okay.
can't. You'll have
Yeah,
to do
but I have
something
to
about
give plus 1 as well, so that
it. Okay.
it'll know I have to create like 5 values inside.
Give bin num a default value for now.
Yeah, I can do that. I can change this. Let's consider it's gonna come in, but I can
Okay.
give bin num equal to 4 for now, and I'm gonna set it to bins, and I'll comment uh, this. If I run the code, we should get the same. Okay, yeah, we are getting the same results. But I changed the values between. So I didn't rename the label here, keeping the same label, but label should be. Maybe I'll print it. I'll get a better idea. Print the updated bin. Yeah. So now the updated bins are 0, 25, 50, 75, 100.
Okay. And if you had to create the labels dynamically as well based on bins, how would you do that?
We can just do this. I'll convert all the bins into string first because it's not in string.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, okay, I'll do this. Maybe I'll take all the bins. I'm gonna do str of I, and I'm gonna also append less than symbol
Mm-hmm.
to follow the same pattern. Yep. So this will be the updated label, each label. So I can call it label here, and I can labels equal to the updated list. Labels dot append label. And one more thing, I should not do this for the first one. So it starts from 1.
Understood. Makes sense.
And sorry, comment this. Yeah, no, the labels are dynamic. Yeah, 20
See.
less than 25.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I'll ask the last follow-up question on this. So if this output was to be visualized, what
Mm-hmm.
kind of a graph or a visualization would you draw to depict this
Uh,
information?
yeah, I think either we can go with a cumulative graph, cumulative line graph, or we can use histogram to show this output.
And would you be showing a graph for each grade, or how would you take grade into account?
Okay. We can use like a color to determine which grade it is. We can use the histogram, and we can have a red color for 10th grade and like blue color for 11th grade on the same plot, on the same x and y axis.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, then you can do it in a single graph if you
Yep.
Color code
Yep.
background. Okay.
Yep.
Um, okay, so now in retrospect, like if you
Mm-hmm.
had some more time, what would you have made better about this answer?
Yeah, maybe like sometime like here I jumped ahead of time. I think till here I followed the pattern of printing everything to see what's happening in the output. Here in this step I might have like just stepped ahead and see what's gonna happen. I might not do that. I might still print every step that I do unless I'm confident in what I'm doing here. I could have done that better. And also like the dynamic one, you saw that making it dynamic was little complicated as we completed it and go back and changing it. Maybe could have started the question by making it dynamic in the first place. But yeah, there is
That's
other way. We can also
yeah.
consider like building an MVP first and go next.
Yes, I think building an MVP first is always a good approach. These are like good
Mm-hmm.
to haves, right? Um,
Yeah.
I think one thing which might like one tidbit which I'll give um is I think there was a lot of renaming. Like we could have aliased a columns, like first three lines of code had a lot of filters, those could have been clubbed together. Also,
Mm-hmm.
this approach of running everything, like if you interview for FANG, this will come in your way, which is you are not given an execution environment. So when you practice for FANG, you actually have to, the bar is you can't run the code, right? And you have to
Mm-hmm.
get the answer. So basically, when you're practicing, you have to get in the habit of not running your code till you know this is
Mm-hmm.
going to absolutely give the right answer. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason, at least my interpretation of why they do that, is when I used to work for one of these FANG companies, you would write a query and the result would come the next day. So the query would run like 6 hours, 8 hours. So there is no possibility of iterating over the code.
Mm-hmm.
You have to write
Mm-hmm.
the right answer in the first shot. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just one recommendation is whenever or if you ever plan to interview for FANG, stop the habit of running the code every time you make a change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
Uh,
makes the coding part scary as well.
it helps you connect the dots in your head,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
you are visualizing what's going to happen. It just a forcing function. Um,
Mm-hmm.
of how all the functions you write, how are they going to work together? So it helps you form that pattern in your head. But unfortunately, when people work on small data sets, they don't have this problem. So they develop this habit of running the code, which is truly not possible at scale. So I think that's it for today. I think hopefully people found this meaningful. And there are a lot of questions on interview query like this, which you can practice on. So yeah, feel free to look up interview query. Yeah, that's it.